and therefore the 2008 national elections present significant foreign policy distinctions for Jewish voters to weigh. First, I note the disturbing views of national Democratic leaders regarding our military fighting radical Islamists around the globe. Senator Kerry, for example, has repeatedly smeared our troops as uneducated losers. This canard ignores the fact that our military volunteers have higher than average educational backgrounds, re-enlist in large numbers, and many even plead to remain in the Iraqi theater when they're tested for possible brain damage due to blasts or IEDs or bombs. Senator Durbin notoriously compared our troops to Nazis, Stalinists, and the Khmer Rouge. Senator Obama claimed that we are air raiding villages. Congressman Murtha slandered our best and brightest by falsely prejudging a difficult incident at Haditha as a purposeful massacre. Congressman Stark, a few weeks ago, claimed the commander-in-chief enjoyed for entertainment value sending young warriors into battle. He later apologized, but the sentiment was shocking. And finally, Congressman Clyburn revealed what's in the hearts and minds of many Democrats by stating that American success in Iraq would be bad for the Democratic Party. Operation Iraqi Freedom merits honest discussion and debate. But Senate Majority Leader Reid claimed earlier this year that the United States had already lost while our troops were in battle and in fact had liberated Iraq, ousted Saddam and his sons in the Ba'athist regime, won every military battle they've engaged in, and increasingly successfully helped Iraq stand up, reduce civilian casualties, and in Al-Anbar province, reject al-Qaeda in the Sunni area. In his recent address last week, The Politics of National Security, 2000 Democrat vice presidential nominee and now independent Senator Joseph Lieberman lamented the collapse of Democratic foreign policy tradition of Roosevelt, Truman, and JFK. And he said that Democrats are now more invested in defeating the Bush administration than in preventing Iraqi genocide due to rapid withdrawal of forces from the Iraqi theater, or in defeating terrorists like those of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Council. He was, of course, formally referring to the Kyle Lieberman Amendment, which declared the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Council, a terrorist entity. He was also referring to the Webb Amendment in the Senate. Senator Webb sought to limit the president's options to confront Iran and its nuclear proliferation. Mr. Webb is a possible Democratic vice presidential nominee and not a friend of the pro-Israel community. Mrs. Clinton seconded the Webb Amendment and broke ranks with the pro-Israel community, which does not want to tie the hands of our commander-in-chief regarding the Iranian threat. In sum, my thesis is that the Democratic Party has been hijacked by the far left. Many Democrats no longer support our troops or their victory. A majority of Democrats no longer comfortably and clearly support Israel, the Jewish state, unambiguously as our moral and strategic ally. This is not our parents' and grandparents' Democratic Party.
Thank you, Larry. Andrew, now your turn.
Thank you very much. I'll pull this forward a little bit here so that everyone can hear me. I'd like to thank Children of Jewish Holocaust survivors. I do know that in my own family, recently one of my cousins, Jerry Gerard, age 90, passed away. He got out of Germany in 1932, leaving behind a law degree that he could not use, but dedicated the rest of his life in the United States to helping reunite families that had been separated by the Holocaust, and using his ability to speak German also to translate documents to make sure that the horror was properly documented so it should never happen again. I'd also like to thank Stephen and, of course, Larry. We've done this a couple times in a couple places in the past. And I forgot to mention, usually when you hear about the Georgetown versus GW rivalry, it was because Ken Starr went to GW Law School and Bill Clinton went to Georgetown undergrad. Well, he went to Georgetown Law School, I went to George Washington University Law School, so the rivalry still lives. But this is a very appropriate topic for discussion, as my parents actually are in Israel for the first time this week. They're in their 60s and feel that things have gotten to the point where they feel safe to go to Israel. It was always a big concern for them, and they are enjoying every moment of it. They've called me 3 or 4 times asking what little gift they can get for myself or my fiance in Israel, because they have some of the most wonderful wonderful art objects there, and that sort of thing. I want to just ask a couple quick questions to the audience. A quick show of hands. How many people here consider yourself political conservatives? Raise your hand. Okay. How many people here consider yourself to be political, we'll use the other, progressives or liberals? Okay. They're about 15 to 20 in here, but that's okay. Different organizations have different viewpoints. I bet if I was in front of a group like ADL, there might be a slightly different makeup here than here. That being said, how many people here feel that the peace process that's going forward in Annapolis is a waste of time and we shouldn't be moving forward with it? Raise your hand. Okay. The bad news I have for you is, with regards to 2008, you're going to be very disappointed, because neither party has any candidate that echoes those positions. We have conservatives, we have liberals, we have ultra-progressives, and we have ultra-conservatives. But we have an opportunity here with the deeply fractured country to try to come together and to try to make sure we stand behind our ally Israel, and to make sure that we try to find ways of addressing, as has been put forward, the Islamofascist, the jihadist, however you want to put it, threat that is before us. But what I am here to put to you today is that when it comes to standing up for Israel, and when it comes to standing up to these threats which face not only Israel but the United States, the Democratic Party has been one that has been consistent in word and action, whereas the Republican Party has said the right things to you, but when they've actually done things, they haven't always done what's been best for Israel, or necessarily for Jews in this country, or necessarily identifying the real jihadist threat. And the real jihadist threat comes from East Pakistan and comes from Iran, not Iraq, and from Saudi Arabia, I would add. But if you look at where the previous administration put its resources and how it spent the goodwill and resources, Israel is now less safe than it has ever been. It is more isolated than it has ever been. And also, the United States has put its agenda and pushing Israel around. Some of you may feel that with the Annapolis conference as well. That's one example. I will give you a couple of quick examples as well. Since Larry was very good to point out all of my party's flaws, I can point them out on the other side. First of all, currently, this organization was key in supporting AB 221, which allows the state teachers and the state employees pension fund to withdraw money, to divest from companies doing business with Iran's oil industry. The problem is right now that there's federal enabling legislation that's currently stuck in the Senate. It's being sponsored by Barack Obama on the House side, and I believe Tom Lantos it was by Barney Frank on the House side and by Barack Obama on the Senate side. Currently, the Bush administration and Richard Shelby, a Republican from Alabama, have put a hold on this legislation so as to render AB 221 useless until this bill is passed.